Okay, the activity we are working on today is called Identify Independent and Dependent Variables. And this is code FSF. And this is 8th grade IXL. And the question says Devin, a food blogger, receives payment from an advertiser each month. The amount of money she earns depends on how many site visitors she receives each month. So this is important because it tells us the answer here. The amount of money she earns depends on how many site visitors she receives each month. So, which of these is the dependent variable? Well, the money she earns depends on how many site visitors. So, M is the amount of money Devin earns. So, M is going to be the dependent variable. Okay, let's look at another. A performing arts theater is hosting the local high school musical. The number of tickets that can be sold depends on how many seats there are in the theater. So, tickets sold is the dependent variable. So, which of these is the ticket sold? T is the number of tickets sold. So, T is the dependent variable. Jump up a level and see what kind of difficult. Oh, it jumps all the way up to 90. So let's see what we're dealing with. Okay. Every day at lunch, Sam swims laps in the pool for 1 hour. The faster his speed, the more laps he is able to swim. Okay. So S is the speed and L is the number of laps in 1 hour. Which variable is the dependent variable? So, does his speed depend on the number of laps he swims, or does the number of laps he swims depend on his speed? The number of laps he swims depends on how fast he is. So it's going to be L is the dependent variable. Let's do this a couple more of these. In hockey, a team's score depends on how many goals this team has scored. So the score is the dependent variable. And if the team scores S, then the independent variable, they threw a monkey wrench into it, right? So if S is the dependent, then G has to be the independent variable. And let's do one more. Rebecca is a consultant for a software company. The number of hours she works determines the amount of her annual bonus. Determines is kind of like another word for depends. So the number of hours she works is the dependent variable. And H is the number of hours she works, so the dependent variable is H. But if they don't tell you that, you can think about it like this. Is the number of hours she works dependent on her bonus, or is her bonus dependent on how many hours she works? The bonus depends on how many hours she works. That's interesting. So B is the dependent variable because her bonus depends on how many hours she works. Since it's a little confusing, let's do another one. So Layla, a florist, is assembling a bouquet of roses. The number of roses in her shop determines the number of bouquets she can assemble. So, is the number of roses in her flower shop dependent on how many bouquets she can assemble? Or is the number of bouquets she can assemble dependent upon the number of roses she has in her flower shop? So, the number of roses in her flower shop does not determine the number of bouquets she can assemble. The number of bouquets she can assemble depends on how many roses she has in her shop. Because if she has more roses in her shop, then she can make more bouquets. So the bouquets, the number that she can assemble, depends on how many roses she has in her shop. So the independent variable would be R.